Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cross Culture Critic. I'm Chris.
And I'm Joe.
Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I am hanging in.
And yeah. It's May, getting closer and closer to summer.
Yep, I'm loving it.
So got a lot on deck today. So I thought first we'd start with talking about just catching up. What have we been watching? I think we both saw Infinity War.
We did, and I saw it. I saw it the other night. I liked it. Are we going to talk spoilers so the people have to stop this?
Let's. By the time this comes out, it's going to be May. What is it? May 13th by then?
Okay,
People
so we
have
can
seen
talk
it.
about it.
It's made $250 million opening weekend. People have seen it. If you haven't seen it, maybe plan on going forward about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So, last spur of the moment, my girls and I decided to go see it Sunday night. I was thinking, it's Sunday night. No one goes to the movies on Sunday night. Because everyone's gone on Friday and Saturday. It's work the next day. Well, no, it was a packed theater. We got there 20 minutes, 25 minutes early. It was still already all filled up, and we had to sit in the seats that are like up front.
Oh, it's the worst. Was it one of the big like IMAX type screens too?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so we were up front, third row, and it was so big that, and we were so close that whenever there was action, like if people were flying around and fighting and there was just a lot of stuff going on, it was all a blur. Like my brain couldn't take in the information until like things slowed down. And then when people like stood there talking, obviously I could see it. And then when they go back to like fighting and doing all that stuff, it was just like, it almost looked like flashes on the screen. Like I didn't know what was going on. So I may go see it again. I'll probably go see it again next week. But I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I did too. In fact, I walked out and I was kind of underwhelmed by it. And usually when I sit and think with a movie, if I have to sit and think about a movie, either I end up realizing, oh, I liked it a lot, or I didn't like it at all. And the more I think about this one, I think it might be my favorite.
It definitely.
It's just it's so gutsy. Like we're talking spoilers, so like Gamora, that shocked me.
Yeah.
Like when she died, that shocked me.
Yes.
And I would say the ending didn't, because we know there's another one coming up. So, and you know that they're going to make another Black Panther and they're going to make another Spider-Man. So they're not gone forever. But when Peter Parker was like, I don't want to go, and like holding on to Tony Stark, I lost it almost.
Yeah, it was definitely the, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Whenever I get like talking in podcasts and stuff, I'm always searching for words and my brain just goes blank. But it was like the dire, it was like the dire end that you're seeing all these superheroes that they've been able to get to this point through their movie history because of their superpowers.
Yeah.
And they were always stronger, faster, could work as a team. They were literally fighting a villain that they knew they were not going to win, but they were still giving it their all. And so, like, I love that aspect of it. There's a few things in the movie, if you want to talk about, that I was just like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, what's that?
Still with Wakanda, you are the most technologically advanced civilization, yet you still use spears. That's a little, like,
I
that's
kind of
weird
wondered
to me.
about that.
That's weird to me still. Again, I did not like Black Panther, and it just kind of showed it a little bit more in this. Like, you're the most advanced, and you don't have anything better than spears to fight these things with. The other thing I thought was foreshadowing was when Doctor Strange and Iron Man and all those guys, Spider-Man, were fighting those, like, the helpers of Thanos.
Yeah.
When there was that first, when they like arrive in like Manhattan and they're fighting them, I thought there was a foreshadowing with the big guy. Like, the big guy jumped at him. Doctor Strange opened up a portal. The guy
transported him
to the park.
He never came back.
And then you're right. and then like he transported him to some other place. But when he started running back, he closed it. The guy got his hand through, and then it closed and cut off his hand.
Oh, so why didn't they just do that to Thanos?
So why didn't they do that to Thanos?
That's a very good point.
When they had
I didn't
him
think about that.
trying to get the gauntlet off his arm, Mantis is on his head. Why didn't Doctor Strange just come over, open a portal, stick his head in it, close the portal?
Oh, that's very good.
Decapitated, done. End. You did it. You beat him. I don't understand why they didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you are absolutely right on that one.
That drove me nuts. And even if you don't want to go that route of like Doctor Strange doing it, they had Thanos where why couldn't they have stuck a dagger in his neck? Why couldn't they have like something? They had Thanos and they all went to pulling the glove off. You can pull a glove off a dead man. You know what I mean?
The Avengers, they don't kill, I guess would be the thing.
They
except
do.
Except when Star-Lord tried to kill him and screwed the whole thing up.
I know, but at that point he could have already been dead.
Yeah.
They don't kill, but they were prepared to kill Vision.
That is true.
They were
prepared
to kill their own to save everybody. Well, why wouldn't you just kill a bad guy to save everybody?
I didn't think about that either. It never bothered me in the minute, and I don't think it bothers me.
I mean, it doesn't bother
me.
It's one of those things. I still love the movie. The movie is fantastic.
Yeah, any problems I had were little things. I thought Rocket was a little too cuddly. Like, he just seemed a little too friendly to Thor.
Yeah.
And he's always prickly.
Do you think they had the time? Because, and I say that, like, in the past Guardians movies, he's prickly because it allows, like, a build-up.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, there's so many characters. They got to get so much in. If everything Thor was doing was met with resistance or prickliness from Rocket, like, that just extends what you needed to do. So you got to kind of cut that down, I would think.
And I think the time this all takes place is like 5 years after the last Guardians.
Okay.
Because that took place like right after the first one. So maybe he's just gotten nicer. I don't know. I'm very excited to see what they do with it next year.
I mean, if you think about it, all they have to do is
get the time stone.
Yeah, they just get the gauntlet, like those that are left. They just get the gauntlet and turn back time to where before he snapped his fingers and killed everybody. So there's definitely things you could do. They also set up with the whole thing that has always bothered me about comic books, the alternate realities, alternate universes. And so, even in the movie, they set that up for a possibility in the future where Doctor Strange, when he was shaking and freaking out, and he said he just viewed like 14 million different fights that they had with them, and they were like, well, how many did we win? 1. So, I mean, they've kind of set it up, and it's like that in the comic books. You'll have somebody die in the comics, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they killed so-and-so. And then the next week, there's a whole new line of that comic book character that just died because they
just went to another.
Well, that was Earth 1343. This is Earth, 27-640.
The moment the movies start doing that, and they will eventually, once they milk all these characters dry, I'm out. I can't keep track of multiple timelines.
Yeah, and that is where comic books lose me. I love comics. I absolutely love comics, but that's my downer when it comes to comic books is if this person dies, they're dead. Like, deal with it. Like, we as get over it. Deal with it. That's life. Who's the next guy that will rise? Well, no. This guy died here, but on this Earth, it was a separate reality.
Keep that intellectual property going.
Exactly. And so that's what drives me nuts.
So, well, we'll see what happens next year, and I'm actually looking forward to Ant-Man coming out in 2 months. So, since it's been a long time since we had a Marvel movie, I guess. So that's Infinity War. That's in theaters. Are you watching anything else right now besides wrestling?
I'm still hardcore into wrestling, and to tell you the truth, it's been a lot of fun. Like,
I saw you did a whole family day last year.
Yeah, we did a couple Mondays ago was my daughter's birthday, and unfortunately, it kind of fizzled out because we lost power. We had big windstorm or ice storm that came through, and we lost power. So my daughter was kind of gypped of her birthday day. And so I was off work last Friday. I have my girls are with me on Thursdays. This is, one of the days of the week that I have them. And so they were with me on Thursday, and I just thought, hey, instead of waking up and, taking you guys to grandma's or taking you to school, do you guys just want to skip school and stay home? Because, Ella, you didn't get to stay home on your birthday, whatever, because we didn't have power, so it didn't make sense. I was like, WWE is having their big, it's called the Greatest Royal Rumble. Normally, a Royal Rumble has, what I've now learned, 30 people in it.
Didn't they just do, like, WrestleMania?
Yeah, there's like a pay-per-view event like every 2 weeks
That
now.
is crazy.
It is nuts. And so, but the cool thing is if you have the WWE Network, you get them all for free anyway.
Nice.
So anyway, the girls stayed home. We did a big thing where I had all these games and stuff set up to where if they wanted to stay home and then they said they did, which it sounds funny because who wouldn't want to stay home from school if their parent asked them? But my girls love going to school. Mm-hmm. So I actually had to tell them what we were going to do to finally get them over the hump of staying home. Because the Greatest Royal Rumble was in Saudi Arabia, it started at 11 in the morning.
Oh.
So instead of being at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, it started at 11 in the morning. So we got up, we went out to breakfast, we came back home, and then I had all these activities set up for the day. So we had to think of a wrestler that we wanted to be. Mm-hmm. We had to come up with like a nickname, a costume, the music that we walk into.
Oh, that's cool.
All that stuff. And then I challenged them to make a cake that
nice.
was a replica of the championship belt. And on my Instagram account, there's the reality, the expectation versus reality pictures,
I saw that.
which are pretty funny. So we did that. Then I had all the matches down, and you went through and you picked who was going to win. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of it all, whoever had the best record won the belt.
Nice.
And so, as you can see up on my mantle,
you won.
That's one of the belts. There's two belts.
Oh,
There's the red one, which is, I think, in Mia's room because she won it, because she picked the most right matches who would win. And then we have a belt for the Royal Rumble. And so I picked the guy, Braun Strowman, who won the Royal Rumble, and so I won the Royal Rumble belt. And then all the matches, I had prizes. So the competition was between Ella and Mia. So they would go through and pick who they thought was going to win, and then there would be a prize for each match. And so if Ella's guy won, she won the prize. If Mia's, she won it.
Fun.
And so, yeah, we just had a lot of fun. So lately, I've been watching wrestling and just having a blast. Like, I watch it when I can. When I'm going to bed at night, what I didn't watch, I'll watch the rest of. Just having a good time watching it. I did, however, start with my kids Lost in Space.
I was going to see if you'd seen that. I have not seen it yet, but it's on my list.
Now, have you heard about, seen on Facebook, the deal with this movie, this series?
I've seen a trailer, but that's all.
There's a following now for the robot.
Really?
And how hot the robot is.
Is the robot hot?
The robot looks like a robot to me, but people are going nuts. In fact, Netflix actually put out as a hype thing for Lost in Space about how hot the robot is. So this trailer for Netflix is pulling up Twitter feeds, Facebook posts, all this stuff about how hot the robot is. Like, there's women going on their Twitter saying, I can't wait to get home from work, pour a glass of wine, and watch the robot. Because he's so hot.
Here's the article online literally saying, quote, people are horny for the Lost in Space robot.
Yeah. So this robot is like just taking the female population by storm, and probably some dudes too. But I think it's funny. But my kids and I, we started watching it, and I didn't watch Lost in Space growing up.
I saw the crappy movie in the 90s.
Yeah, the movie that came out, I heard it was garbage, so I didn't watch that. Just through pop culture, I know the whole Danger Will Robinson.
Yeah.
That's all I know of Lost in Space. So watching this, it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's well done. It seems to be well done. Like, I don't watch it and I think, like, this is corny. And my kids, like, they're, hey, Dad, can we watch another episode today?
Okay.
My kids don't have Netflix when they're at their mom's, so when they come here, they're like, oh, can we watch an episode tonight? And we like to, have something to watch every night before bed. So they enjoy it. They really like it.
Cool. I think my next Netflix one that I want to do is either that or Mindhunters.
Mindhunters is great.
I've heard that. I want to do that. I've been on kind of like a serial killer kick lately.
Yeah.
I have a friend who I do my other podcast with. She recommended the podcast My Favorite Murder.
Okay.
So I've been listening to that. It's like two ladies just talking about murders every week.
Oh, nice.
But I'm also reading. I don't know if you've heard of this book. I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, and it's about the Golden State Killer.
Yeah, that's
who they just caught.
Patton Oswalt's wife.
Yeah.
She passed away.
She passed away about 2 years ago. But she was an amateur detective, and she would stay up till like 3 a.m. just researching these cold cases and stuff. So she put together this book about a serial killer and rapist in the California area, and he actually was working on 2 sides of the country, and it's never been solved. And so she put
until last week.
Yeah, and last week they caught the guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm reading the book now, and it is a good book.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of true crime I don't read because it's just horribly written. Like,
Yeah,
it's just there to shock you.
Yeah.
This is really well written, and it's to the point where I can't read it at night because they describe, how the guy gets in the house and stuff, and it just kind of creeps me out.
I love true crime. Obviously, it's my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a line of work that I love studying about, reading about, all that. But true crime, even growing up, obviously fed into the passion of me wanting to be in law enforcement. But I love true crime, man. I don't like fiction. Like, I don't like, when I read books, I don't want to read about, this is a book about a serial killer. Like, no.
No, read the real stuff.
I want to read the real stuff. There's some stuff out there that's so crazy, it beats anything that you could think about writing.
Yeah.
And so if you've ever gone to the crime library online, the online crime library, that is, you want to talk about, don't read that before you go to bed. It's just like
that's when we up reading tonight.
Yeah, it's just like a wormhole. Like, you can just, it's like celebrity killings, famous killings, like just all sorts, and you just get in a wormhole and you go down one, which leads to another. If you ever want to read a crazy one, I would say it's called the Kansas City Soccer Field Massacre.
Okay.
And if you don't find it under that, it's the Carr Brothers, Carr, the Carr Brothers. Go to the crime library and read that. It is bananas.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And other than that, there's not a lot I'm watching right now. I like Barry on HBO. Silicon Valley on HBO is really good. But I'm really looking forward to, they just announced it today. Were you an Arrested Development fan?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. What did you think of the 4th season?
Didn't see it because I heard it wasn't any good.
It wasn't good. It was, every episode was just way too long, and the structure was really weird. Like, every episode would follow one character.
Okay.
And maybe they'd bump into other people from the show, but it was really in the show would bounce around in time.
Was that where the crazy brother lost his hand? Was that season?
No, that was the second season.
That was okay.
This was a whole bunch I can't even remember what it was about. I just remember it there were some funny ideas, but the whole execution of it was just really bad.
Okay.
Well, they announced today that not only is season 5 coming later this summer, the director went back to season 4, re-edited all the episodes to make them run all 20 minutes long, and restructure them so it's taking place in more of a chronological time.
Okay.
And they're re-releasing that season on Netflix this Friday as we're recording.
Oh, praise God.
Yeah. So I'm that gives me an excuse to go back and re-binge Arrested Development, which will be my 3rd or 4th time re-binging Arrested Development.
Yeah, me and my girlfriend, because Molly talks about how she loved Arrested Development, and I started watching the first episode maybe 4 months ago, and I watched half the first episode and then just never went back.
Wait, that's all you've
it.
seen?
Oh, no. I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen all of it, except
the 4th. Okay.
The 4th. Wait. The fourth season was the one that they came back and Ellen DeGeneres' like wife looked nothing like. Remember how like they came back and like maybe like didn't look anything like maybe.
Well, because maybe's like a ton older now.
Right.
They did a lot of flashbacks where like Jeffrey Tambor's character was played by Seth Rogen, and
what's the sister's name?
The
real life.
Portia Del Rossi.
Portia. Wasn't that the season where like when Portia you finally see her, you're like, what happened to her?
That might be. She looked weird.
Or was that season 3?
No, no, because season 3 was filmed right with everything else, so that would have been.
So it was 1, 2, 3, and then they stopped.
There was a long break between. Like,
okay, so yes, I saw 1, 2, 3, and I want to say I saw all of season 4, but it wasn't memorable to me. Like I remember, like, oh my gosh, like Portia, she doesn't even look like herself anymore.
Yeah,
and it was like bad plastic surgery almost, just like, Lord. And so that'll be interesting. So to go back and watch that in more chronological and everything, that'll be fantastic.
And like 20-minute episodes, that's what that show needs to be. It needs to move fast.
Yeah.
So unlike this show where we're still talking. Whoa!
Word. Oh.
Your dog just went crazy.
Yeah.
So we got a lot on deck today, though. First thing I want to talk about, I've been on a real, like, this is weird for me.
Can I stop? Is that recording?
Go ahead.
Are we recording?
I'm recording.
Oh, because it didn't look like it.
No, it's recording.
Is it?
Yeah, I got the red dot on.
Okay,
we're good.
All right, let me make sure.
So we got a lot on deck. I want to talk about, first, I'm on a, like, weird health and wellness kick lately.
Oh, good.
I have never been someone to really get health and wellness-wise, but a few weeks ago, we were at my grandma's house. And my wife and I didn't meet till I was about 30, so she didn't know me when I was a kid or anything like that. And we're walking down the hallway. My grandma's really sick right now, so we'd gone to see her. And we're walking down the hallway, and my senior picture's on the wall. So my wife looks at it. Chris, you used to have a jawline. And, so that was a kicker. And then I just had been feeling like crap lately. Like, that thing where you get to like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and your brain is just gone.
Yeah.
And just like waking up in the morning, you just feel like crap, digestive problems. So I just decided, I'm going to just see what I can do. So I started doing P90. I don't know if you've probably heard that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like P90X, but it's for people who don't work out, like who have never worked out before.
Okay.
So it's kind of intended to give you the same intensity workout. It's just not as complex.
Okay.
So I started doing that, started eating well. So that's been good. I've been doing that about 2 weeks, lost 3 pounds so far. But I've also taken on meditation.
Okay.
And I had never... Do you meditate at all?
No.
I was really skeptical when my wife said she was going to do it. And she got a real benefit out of it. So I was reading this book that recommended, meditation's a good way in your day. I love it. It is the best way to start my morning now.
Yeah?
Like, I attach it to my devotions in the morning. So before I sit down and do my devotions, I'll get up at 5, I'll exercise. Get up at 5. I just said that. Get up at 5, exercise, and then after I exercise, I'll meditate. And I have a little app on my phone that'll play a guided meditation, and sometimes it's like a scripture reading or something. But I'll tell you what, after that, you just feel so clear, so at peace.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've done that. I've started listening to like, give me a mental workout, too. I've started listening to TED Talks in the car on the way, too.
I don't know what that is.
Think about Church for Atheists. It's basically the way I can say it. A TED Talk is basically their speeches given by scientists, teachers, technologists, and it's basically just like informative speeches. So today, for instance, I was listening to someone talk about, is the world getting better or worse? And he's talking about how we all think the world's getting worse, but if you look at statistically how many people are in poverty now as compared to 30 years ago, how many nuclear weapons there are as compared to 30 years ago, we're progressing. We're getting better.
Okay.
But the reason we keep thinking that we're not is because our brains are wired to react to what we remember. So we remember bad news. And we remember bad news because all the news stations
pump out crap.
Yeah, because they want us to be afraid and listen to them.
Yeah.
So that's why we have this idea that the world's getting worse, but really it's been getting better and we, keep progressing. So it's been good. I felt good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. I don't want to be a fat dad. I don't want to be a fat boyfriend. I don't want to be, a future fat husband or anything like that. I don't want to be a fat cop. And so, when you just get older, it's harder to lose that weight. Like I remember being younger and in a week I could lose 10 pounds, like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Then I would like change something about my eating and I would lose 10 pounds. Well, now like I can't do that. The last time I really tried to diet was about a year ago. And that's when I had my twisted intestines.
Okay.
And so during my dieting, I went through all that and it was awful. And so I haven't gone back. Like I've kind of, it's kind of taken a year to kind of get back on my feet, get my digestive system all in functioning order and stuff like that. But now that summer's around the corner and my oldest, she'll be headed to high school next year. So she's kind of looking at her body as she's growing up and saying, I don't want to be a fat kid at school. And she's not, but she wants to take the steps to not have that in her future. So she's like, Dad, is it okay if I like run? When I come to your house, can I like run around the neighborhood? I'm like, absolutely. I'll do it with you. So like we want to start. In fact, today's what, Wednesday? Tuesday. So Thursday, when they come over to my house, that's one of the things that we have planned. We're going to ride our bikes up to the Clawson track, and then we're going to run the track and stuff. Today, I doing push-ups and things like that. And the other big thing is I stopped drinking. So like
totally?
Well, here's the deal. I've given up drinking unless if I go on vacation. Mm-hmm. So like if I go on vacation, I want to have a drink, or it's like a special occasion. And when I say special occasion, I mean like a legit, like a wedding, 4th of July, something like that. Like not just, hey, it's Friday, we're all going out after work. You want to, I'm not doing that. I'm not going out with the guys. I'm not having a drink, with dinner. Like I've eliminated that. So with that, even just by like stopping drinking, I think I've lost 5 pounds. But I know I can do better, and I want to lose a lot more. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you, gearing up for my next big diet here.
Speaking of drinking, the night before I started this, we were over our neighbor's house. They'll call and they'll just do kind of spontaneous dinners every once in a while. So we go over there, we're hanging out, and one of the neighbors, he's drinking something. He's like, hey, do you want one of these? I'm like, yeah, sure. I didn't know what it was. He comes back with this big tumbler of stuff, and I drink it, and it's kind of bitter. I'm like, what is this? Oh, I just mixed a bunch of amaretto and limoncello together.
Oh, gross.
It was actually, though, out in the heat with an icy drink. It was good, but I wasn't paying attention. I drank like a whole tumbler of this stuff, and I was gone by the time. I don't know if they could tell, but we're walking back to my house. I'm like, Kelly, I think I might be a little drunk now. But the next day, so I got up the next day. I had that in my stomach. I
headache?
Exercised. I had a headache after I exercised because I didn't have enough water.
Sugar, yeah.
I'm drinking my coffee black now. That's part of it, which has actually been an okay adjustment.
I like black coffee.
But then I take a multivitamin. And I get to work, and all that is reacting. And I ran to the bathroom, and I lost it all. I just threw up all over the bathroom.
Oh, you puked?
I puked.
I thought you were going to say it was the other end.
And what's worse is, like, how afterwards you're all sweaty after you throw up and stuff? I come back to my desk. I have an instant message from my boss. He's like, hey, can you just come down to my office for a few minutes to talk about a few things? So I'm talking to my boss, and I'm just like, I don't know if I need to go home or what. But that was like the only bad day I've had. Like, I felt good.
That's fantastic.
Like, I feel very focused, which is nice, and energetic. I want to be, I'm at 230 right now. I want to be at 200 by my birthday. So I'm like pushing it.
Okay.
Because I'm hitting, I'll be 39, and it's like, okay, I have 1 year till I turn 40. Because once I turn 40, it all gets harder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to lose about 30 pounds, so that'll put me at 240. So I'd love to be 240. That's like a weight that I think I look best at. So,
well, good. We will We will monitor our progress on that. We won't monitor our progress on this
too
podcast.
bad.
But I will say I did have to tighten my belt an extra notch today. So
Good job,
that
man.
felt nice.
Good job. Keep it up.
So, and my wife doesn't run out of the room when I walk in anymore. It's great.
Good job. Inspire me.
So I am adulting very well now.
Good job. I want to punch you in the face for saying that, though.
That's the last thing I want to talk about was I have seen this come up in my Facebook feed so many times lately. And it's one of my friends, and it's not just one specific friend. It's multiple friends who they spend an evening doing their taxes or grocery shopping, and they talk about how well they're adulting. Do you see this?
I do see it.
What is your response to this? Because I know mine.
I mean, there's the like funny response, which is, like stupid millennial, but then there's the other thing that the younger generation is always like right on the heels of, the generation before. So you're into the new music, you're into this, you're into that. Our parents' music is old and crusty and all that stuff. So, like my generation, if we had social media and hashtag words, we probably would have had something along the lines of adulting. We would have called it something.
Probably.
You know what I mean? But it's that there's the ability to do that now and put hashtag with a word that is what catches on. So, whatever. Growing up, we would have called it just getting old or over the hill, hashtag over the hill. And then, we probably would have said, hey, I'm hashtag over the hill in it. I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to pay my bills. But the word that's nowadays is adulting. And then 10 years from now, there's going to be another word that, what I mean, means the same thing.
But I think it's a little different. This is what I see. And I don't just see millennials doing this. I've seen people my age doing this.
Okay.
Like when I think over the hill or, oh, I'm getting old, it's like, oh, well, I'm suffering the consequences of being an adult that I knew I was going to have. Or, oh, this is just what happens when you're an adult. When someone says, oh, I adulted really well tonight, it's like, I be proud of me for being a grown-up, doing grown-up things.
Right, exactly. Like going grocery shopping, like it's grocery shopping.
Yeah, it's like people, well, I adulted pretty well because I didn't sit inside and watch 5 hours of Netflix tonight. Like, you didn't adult well, you just lived.
Right,
like, you did what you're supposed to do. And, like, I've noticed a lot of the same people who use that are the people who get so stressed out and drama-filled in their life, too.
Yeah.
And it's like, being an adult is scary. I don't want to do this. So why should I have to do my taxes? Be proud of me for doing my taxes.
Like if your whole life, if you're 25, 35, 40 years old, and you live your life as though you are a 20-year-old college student and actually doing things that normal adults should do is so rare that when it happens, you have to draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's an issue. I have an issue with that. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing every day where you're waking up and you're living in some bubble? Are you still living in your parents' house where you're not paying bills? So, like, when they're out of town or they go to Florida for the winter and you have to buy groceries, like, now you're adulting at age 30? Like, because you had to do laundry? Like, you had to spend your off day doing laundry. That's adulting? No, that's life, dude. So that's the kind of stuff that, like, I just laughed, like, okay, our future is, we're effed.
And you know me, I'm a fairly progressive person.
Yeah.
But this is the stuff that brings out the crusty old conservative in me.
Crusty old Chris.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, you did, don't put it on Facebook that you did your taxes instead of watching, The Simpsons for 6 hours. That's what I would expect of you to do.
Right.
Post if you ended up watching The Simpsons for 6 hours so I can make fun of you for doing that.
Right.
But yeah, like, everyone, I don't want to say everyone's overly sensitive, but I feel like growing up is something people keep putting off more and more.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the point where I was reading this article last week. The students at a college in Utah, they had finals. They studied, they were having their final exams, so they were studying for it. And to deal with the stress, one of the students built a cry box in the middle of the library, a cry closet that you could go into and cry if the stress got too much.
Are you kidding me?
And first off, At a college, that closet is not being used for crying.
Right.
That's going to be the hot box.
Right, right, exactly.
But
be used for 7 in heaven.
But I'm like, no, you suffer through your finals, go through your sleepless nights like everyone else.
Yeah.
Like that's what we've done.
But isn't that the millennial way now?
I don't know if I want to blame it on millennials, but I will.
We have to. Because here's the deal. Millennials, it's nothing like millennials get all this crap shoveled on them because of who they are, but who made them? Our generation, our parents' generation. You know, like, you know, I'm 40, but it's the people who are 50, 55 that, you know, 20 years ago are like, no, we can't do this. Everyone has to get a trophy. Everyone has to do it. You know, oh, no, you can't. Well, to no fault of their own, they grew up with that where, hey, I got a trophy for everything. Even if I didn't, like, I was on the soccer team. Our team came in last because every day I just sat down and picked dandelions and didn't get the guy running by me with the ball. But I still got a trophy. So now they're at school and they have a final.
I earned that trophy, but...
You know. So they have a final in front of them and they need a cry box. You know, I mean, we could get. I know this is a fun topic.
Oh, and I'm having fun with it.
Right. I know it's a fun topic, but I mean, I could go so far as to like being serious. Like in the United States right now, our military has an epidemic with suicides, and I was reading some articles. Because people and the kids that are going into the military out of high school have never had to deal with failure. They've won everything. Everything is give it your best try. Well, they're realizing they're getting to the military and their best try isn't good enough. Well, in the grand scheme of things, you know, the military doesn't want to tell you during boot camp that you're doing a great job. Even when you do something a 10 out of 10, they're going to tell you did it wrong because it's a psychological thing. You have to overcome. You have to keep going. Well, kids are hearing this and they're killing themselves at a record rate because they don't feel that they're performing in boot camp as they should. They feel that they're failing. And so they're killing themselves. And so I've been, this was probably a year ago that I read this, these few articles. But they're saying that, so a year ago it was a huge thing in the military, and I'm guessing it probably still is because I haven't heard or read anything to the contrary as of late. But all these millennials, and so if they're not in the military, they're in real life. If they're not in the military, they're in college. And so you're seeing the college kids break down because, oh my gosh, this sucks to study. Yeah, no joke, it sucks to study.
Well, do you know how many professors I've talked to who have said they have parents call them?
Yeah.
Like, can you change my kid's grade? My kid's not going to be in class. It's like, no, they're an adult now.
Exactly.
Like, don't fight their battles for them. And don't think it's easy. Like, college shouldn't be easy. The military shouldn't be easy. Like, if you want to be the best at something, you have to just endure the hard stuff.
Yeah. In law enforcement, we have 21, 22-year-old kids that go to the bar. They've woken up that day. They've planned to go to the bar with their buddies that night. They go to the bar that night. They're over 21. They drink legally. They drink too much. They get in fights. Then they get arrested. And they think that they can just say sorry and walk away. And the handcuffs get put on them. They get taken to jail. Their phone call, they used to call their parents to tell them that they're in jail. And their parents will call the station and say, hey, I need to come in and talk to my son. You need to tell me what's going on. No. Well, I'm his parent. It doesn't matter. He's over 18. I legally cannot tell you anything that he's done over the phone. But I'm his mother. I don't care. He's an adult. He made the decisions that he made. Well, I'm going to come down there and talk to him. No, you're not. Are you a lawyer? If you're a lawyer, you can talk to him. But I'm his mother. So this is what we have to deal with in law enforcement is these kids that think they can, again, to say kid, you're 22 years old, getting drunk and fighting people, fighting bouncers, males beating up women, and then they get arrested for that. And as they're getting arrested, they think that they can go up to that girl that they just knocked her tooth out and say sorry.
Yeah.
And this is the way that we've raised kids.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's two things. One is, you said, people are afraid of failure, and people just don't want to grow up. And to the first point, I think everyone needs at least one good failure in their life. Mm-hmm. You need at least one time where you have, like, fallen flat on your face. I have had many.
Yeah.
Like, I went out, I remember I was a journalist for a while, so I was poor. I didn't make a lot of money. I was sharing an apartment with a guy. Got behind on my bills. Go outside one morning to go to work. My car's gone. And so I called the cops. I'm like, hey, I think someone stole my car. And they're like, oh, well, what's your address? And I put the address in. And then they kind of chuckle.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, no, your car was repoed.
Yeah.
And so I had to go, like, but you know what? That taught me I did not want to have that happen again.
Right.
And so I fought tooth and nail to never have that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just, those are good things to have happen. I've been fired from jobs before. Mm-hmm. I got fired from a job, well, because I burnt out. I hated it. And so I kept going in late. And it taught me, you know what? A, show up on time to work. But B, like, have a job you care about.
Yeah.
And my next job was a newspaper job. I loved it. Like, if people don't have that, they don't learn. They don't, like, they just don't go to the next level. And then the other thing is people just want to be kids and just extend this adolescence. And they're going to miss all the good stuff about being an adult.
Right.
Like, I hate this idea that being adults is drudgery. Like, yeah, you know, I'm 38 and I don't get to go out every night because I have kids.
Right.
And I have a mortgage. And so there's things I have to miss out on. There are trips I don't get to take.
Yeah.
But I don't regret that at all. And I see so many friends now. Like, it's just insane how many people I know who are like, oh yeah, we don't want to have kids, which is fine. Totally cool if you don't want to have kids. But when the reason is because I just, you know, there's so much stuff I got to do.
Right.
Like that, I'm just like, no, you're going to regret that down the road.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
absolutely.
Travel later, take care of everything else now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what about the whole idea of self-care? Have you heard that one going around?
No.
Okay, self-care is a big thing. And I get it. It's take care of yourself so you can do well.
Okay.
To me, that means I'm doing the things I talked about earlier. You know, I am exercising. I am eating right. I am taking care of stuff today, taking care of bills today, so that I don't get a late notice that compounds problems. That, to me, is self-care, being better.
Okay.
But when I hear it talked about, it's treat yourself. You know, have you heard that?
Yes.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, you know what you gotta do is self-care. You just gotta sit down with a book and a bubble bath and you know, just enjoy it.
Or I need to buy that $400 purse.
Yes, you deserve it.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, I feel old.
Yeah.
I feel old saying all this, but it's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. That's oh, man, I can't stand all this new stuff.
Yeah.
This is going to go from cross-culture critic to
call cross-culture.Curmudgeons.
Exactly. Back in my day.
But at least, there's just good stuff about getting older.
There is. I think in all walks, in all shapes, in everything that we do, there's that flip side to getting older that a woman she used to be my secretary when I worked for the Salvation Army. Her name was Cindy, her name still is Cindy, but she used to always tell me that like with each step that like say like, you know, you hit age 21 and then you hit age 25, and then you hit age 30 and then 40, like with each level in life that you hit, she said it got better. Like, you know, like when you're 25 years old, you're like, oh my gosh, like 30, I can't believe I'm going to turn 30 in 5 years. And then when you turn 30, she said you love it so much better than when you were 25. Mm-hmm. And then when you turn 40, she's like, when I turned 40, I loved 40 more than 30 because I was financially more stable. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm that much further into my marriage and a deeper connection with my husband. And, you know, and then when she turned 50, you know, her husband was a little bit older than her. So like he's looking at retirement. So they're looking to spend more time with each other. And she's like, it just gets better and better. And whereas when you're young, you're like, I don't want to get older. But then when you get older, you're like even me, like I'm 40. I've been through a crummy divorce and like all that stuff, and had to like rebuild my life and all that stuff. And I am so freaking happy at age 40. Like, finances are tight. I have to save for stuff that I want. It's not easy. But man alive, I feel so wealthy as far as where I am. Like, not competing. Like, I don't have to compete like clothes. Like, my buddies that I work with are all so much younger than me. They all joke with me in my clothes. But I don't care. Like, I'm comfy. Like, I'm... like when it comes to clothes or a car or this or that, man, like I come home today, it's a day where I don't have my kids or I'm not with my girlfriend or anything like that. So I come home, I like make dinner for myself, what I want to eat. I'm able to watch some TV shows or play some video games till you get here. I do this, I go to bed. It's just, I love where I am at age 40.
Yeah, and I freaked out when I was turning 30. Because when I turned 30, I had just taken a job that I did not like. Like, it was going from newspapers to marketing, which was a hard transition. I was out on my own. I had moved back out of my parents' house, but I had like no money. Or no, I guess I had a little bit more than when I was at the paper. I was single, so I was freaking out that I'm like 30 and single. Within 3 weeks of turning 30, like 3 weeks before my 30th birthday, I met my wife. Nice. And within a year, I had moved out to another house so I could be a little closer to her. Within 2 years, I was married. 3 years, I had a kid. I don't miss my 20s.
No, I don't either.
Like, everyone says, oh, remember in our 20s when we could do whatever we want? I'm like, yeah, I went to the coffee shop till 2 in the morning, hung out with friends, and yeah, that was great, and I missed that. But I was also, like, really bitter the whole time and really freaked out because I didn't know where money came from and things like that. Now it's great. Like you said, I don't have to worry about making sure my movie and music choices are popular.
Right.
Like, I don't care.
Right.
I think Patton Oswalt said that once, too, about getting older. You just stop getting mad when someone doesn't like your favorite band or something.
Right, yeah.
I have kids. I love having kids. And
me too.
I struggled a little bit with, like, I wanted to have, this movie reviewing career and stuff. But I've just hit, like, a good place where it's like, if I want to write, I can write, and I don't got to worry about being my career.
Yeah.
I have a job I like. It keeps money coming. It doesn't make me work 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
I have a nice house, and I have a dog I hate, and, we're taking an old person's vacation this summer, going out to a cabin. I love it.
Yeah.
I like, getting older is nice.
Yeah, same with me. Like, I look back at the Insiders. And I look at it as, like, playing youth soccer. Mm-hmm. Like, it's something that I did, that I had fun doing, but it doesn't bother me that I'm not doing it now.
Yeah.
I love the memories that I had. I love talking about it, but there is zero. Well, I don't want to say zero. Say there is 10%, less than 10% within me that would want to do Insiders now. Mm-hmm. I love my job. In my 20s and 30s, I was in a job that I liked, but I didn't love, and then I got burned out on it. I'm in a job right now where every morning, there is not one morning I wake up and think, ugh, I got to go to work. I love my job. Mm-hmm. My job I love it. I love it. And so getting up and going to work every day is fun. And again, kind of having that financial, like where I was in my 20s, the thing, like, I make as much money now. What's funny is I make as much money now as I did the last year that I was in the Insiders. Like, it's about the same. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, once the Insiders ended and I went to work for the Salvation Army, at age 40, I make more money now than my wife and I's total combined income when we were 35 years old. Mm-hmm. No, not 35, because I am 40 now. So say 30, 32. Like, I was making, for the Salvation Army, it's nonprofit. So like I was making enough. And then my wife kind of worked for a real estate appraisal firm, and she was making enough. Mm-hmm. Where I am now, I make more than both of us together then. And so, like, it's nice being like, you got a little something under your feet.
Well, and you feel like, hey, I've earned this. I've worked to this place.
Yeah.
And you couldn't, like, if you were on stage every night now, you'd be sore all the time.
Sore all the time, away from my kids. Like,
Yeah.
my life really is my kids. I love my job, but everything I do is for my kids. I love being with them, love planning to do things with them, all that stuff. So I really plan my life around especially them right now because they're in the ages that's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're learning the life lessons. Like, they're realizing, and when you get in the car and they pick you up from school and they're like, or you pick them up from school and they tell you something that happened during the day, and then they tell you how they resolved that conflict because of something you told them or because of something they learned at Sunday school or, whatever, you're like, yes. Like, this is, like, the parenting is paid off.
Well, and you know what? I read all these blogs, or I see all these blogs, and usually mommy blogs popping up in my Facebook feed about how hard it is to have kids. And it is. It's very hard. But there's this idea that it's just all parenting is sleepless nights and drudgery. And I'm like, for like the first 2 years, sure. But your kids grow up, and they get really cool.
Yeah.
Like, my son is 6, and he's awesome. I love talking to my son. We go to the movies together. We go play baseball. He's cool. He asks good questions. He's a smart kid. He's funny. My daughter is too, and she cracks me up. If I was still a reporter, I could not do any of that.
Right.
Like, I would be at city council meetings. I would be at movie screenings. I would be, working 60 or 70 hours a week and only being paid for 30. So I have a much better deal because I have a job that isn't necessarily what I had trained for, but it lets me go back to school for free.
Yeah.
I make enough where the writing I do, I can kind of fundraise that dream. And if anything happens for that down the road, great. If not, I'm still writing it. It's still fun.
Yeah.
And I get to do podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. These are a blast for me.
And yeah, it's good stuff. So getting older is not bad. Be proud of adulting. But just realize it's what's expected of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, don't be proud that you're doing it. Just do it, and you'll enjoy it.
Yep.
So I think that's about it. We'll be back with a new show next week. Joe, I assume people can find you at all the regular places, right?
Exactly. Facebook, Netflix, Xbox, Chicken Shack. I don't know.
My son just had his first Chicken Shack yesterday.
Oh, really?
We were at my grandparents' house, and he had Chicken Shack, and he really liked it, which vindicated me, because my wife does not like Chicken Shack.
I don't like Chicken Shack.
I love some Chicken Shack, and we have one down the road from us.
There's a new place on Woodward, 13 and Woodward. It's a national, chain. Mm-hmm. It's called Gus's. Gus's Fried Chicken. I think it started in, Tennessee. That is phenomenal.
Well, I can't have it anyway because I'm eating healthy.
Yeah, I can't eat it either. Maybe once a year I can have it.
Yeah. So you can find me online on Twitter at Mere Chris-ianity. Patheos page, Mere Chris-ianity. You can find my other podcast. It's my favorite. And we'll see you next week.
Cool. See you.